EA Interviews, Episode 8.
Inspiration, transformation, success stories, and the Imperfect Action Round. 7 days a week. Join Mario Ficini for today's Expert Authority Effect interview.
Welcome, Expert Authority Nation. We're here with Terry Bean, network expert, best-selling author, international speaker, and personally, he is probably one of the most connected people you'll ever meet. But what I like about him and why I even invited him on the show is because he's a cool guy. I've known him about 6, 7, 8 years, maybe 10, something like that. Just round up or down, whatever you want to do. But there's very few people that I want to have in my life continually. You know, they say people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And without a doubt, I know Terry's going to be in it a lifetime, not because of what he does, which is impressive, co-founder TEDx Detroit, but who he is. So I'm excited to bring him up, but first, let's thank our sponsor.
First there was Siri, then you started talking to Alexa. But have you met Crystal? Because she knows all about you. Understand anyone's personality on LinkedIn with this simple Chrome extension you can get from eainterviews.com/Crystal. Once again, eainterviews.com/Crystal.
All right, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Terry Bean. How are you doing, Terry?
Man, with an intro like that, how bad could I possibly be, Mario? Good to see you, buddy. How
Exactly.
you been?
It's good to see you. Glad we're making this happen. It had absolutely no issues. It was seamless.
No, it's perfect. Technology never fails you. Everything goes exactly how you want it every time you want it to go that way. It's never an issue.
I love predictability, and that's why we're here. So, you know what? I'm going to predict the next question, and I have people on the show, and they tell me their strategies, their tactics, all the nuanceical stuff, and that's what you see on most shows, but I want to dive deeper. So that's why I made it this way. I want to know, what's your inspiration? What made you want to be an entrepreneur? Tell me about your story.
It's a good question, man. You know what? I'm almost one of those accidental entrepreneurs. Now, I'll tell you, I had a father who was entrepreneurial, owned his own business. So I watched that. But, you know, people sometimes get into the entrepreneurial space with the idea that they get to set their own hours and make as much money as they want to make. And do the things that they love to do. But if you actually watch entrepreneurs up close and personal, you know that they're working Monday through Sunday, right? That they're working 12 hours a day. You get to pick what 12 hours, but they're working all of them. You know that they're the last ones to get paid. So that's not the inspiration, right? That's almost like the Scared Straight program. So for me, to some extent, I'm a little bit psychologically unemployable. I'm not always the smartest guy in the room, but I'm usually one of those guys. And if you watch enough people make enough mistakes and not follow the advice you give them, you just finally think, I could be doing this on my own. Why aren't I? So my first foray into entrepreneurship, I was 28 years old. I was working at a recruiting firm. I had a better mousetrap than the firm I was working with. And so I decided to kind of put my money where my mouth was and took off, right? Started my own firm, did some really cool stuff down in Columbus, Ohio, had a blast, moved back here to Michigan and got a job, which was kind of a mistake. Fortunately, that job ended and boom, next thing you know, you're an entrepreneur again, you know, because it's just that way. Sometimes I think people are predetermined or psychologically wired for it.
Well, I love that story because I can relate to it. And I remember when I was working places going, why the heck are we doing this? This makes absolutely no sense. Because that's the way it is. Not for
long.
long.
The way we've always done it. Yeah, man. Listen, if that's the answer to the question, you're either A, not asking the right question, or B, need to get the hell out of that room fast.
I like number 2. So let's talk about, now you're an entrepreneur. Who do you help and how do you do it differently from everyone else in the world?
You know, I don't know that I do it that differently than everybody else in the world. So I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I'll tell you what makes me a little bit unique. I have really good listening skills. I pay really good attention when people are talking. I'm super present. I pick up on the nuances that most don't. And really, I have a strong gut and instinct about how things should be done. And that's true because I end up just channeling information. So as my clients, right, small business owners, maybe some high-end salespeople, some folks that are, they're either selling a product or a service, right? Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. They're probably under $10 million. That's kind of the target folks there. As I'm dealing with them and understanding their challenges, ideas and thoughts are being channeled through me that I just spit out instinctively, and I say it in some way with such conviction that those who implement end up finding good fortune. I, in fact, tell my clients that I'm like a magnet, right? I'm a magnet they can carry around to attract new opportunities to them, almost like a good luck charm.
I like that. And what I love about you is you're always giving, you're always sharing. If there's someone that needs some extra promotional advertising, you on LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere I see you, you're always promoting someone else. Hey, look at this person, look at that gal, look at that guy. You're always willing to go above and beyond to promote other people, their events. And, that's one of the things I liked about you, because in business, there's so many people that are going, it's all about me, it's all about me, look at me, it's all about me. And it's like no one cares. They want to know what's in it for them. And you epitomize that of always looking out for the other person. So let's talk about some of your clients. What I'm going to ask you two parts. The specific results that they're struggling with A, B, or C, you help them, and what are the specific results? And then when we finish that, I'm going to ask you the best success story you can think of. So someone coming to you, and I know you have your LinkedIn mastery training and you help people with LinkedIn. When they come to you, what can they expect when they take your training? How long does it take them, and what are the results?
It goes, there's a couple of different ways. I've got some programs that are longer, but if we're just doing a training, it's probably a 3 to 4 hour session where what happens is they know that they have to reach an audience and they're having a hard time doing it. What I tell people about LinkedIn is it is the ultimate business-to-business connector. If you're a retail shop, it's probably not the space for you. But if you're selling to business professionals, especially a service, maybe a product, 500 of the Fortune 500 are there, right? You have titles. You can do search. Listen, LinkedIn understands search in such a way that if Facebook understood search the way LinkedIn does, LinkedIn wouldn't exist. I want you to think about that for a second, right? LinkedIn is that good at it that Facebook could have wiped them off the planet if they would have done that. They don't, they can't, they won't. So LinkedIn's powerful, but it's also powerful to be found. Most people look at LinkedIn as a resume database. They just put their stuff up there, set it and forget it like it's a late night infomercial, and never come back. The key is LinkedIn has become significantly more social in 2018, and it's only getting more so. In fact, I was just chatting with a buddy of mine on LinkedIn. I gave a presentation this morning. I updated a presentation I gave a few months ago. LinkedIn had grown by 62 million people in that time, from 500 to 562 in a 4-month period. And that stat, 562, was from the middle of September. My buddy that works there said, oh, look, we're over 590 million right now. They're going to have 100 million increase in users this year alone, which is pretty significant for a tool that was thought of as a resume database. So what are the results? The ability to connect with your ideal clients, the ability to connect with your ideal partners, and the ability for both of those folks to be able to find you, as well as you having a strategy to find and connect with them.
And that's very it's paramount for any business. And I know so many people that struggle with that. I remember when I heard about LinkedIn, like you said, it's not a resume anymore. It's so much more than that. So I'm going to elaborate on something here. I know you have your speaking and your training, and you mentioned you have some other programs. Why don't you mention some of those, and feel free to talk about them.
Yeah, what I'm really doing, where I'm focusing most of my time, I'll still do speaking, I'll still do some coaching for very specific people, But where I'm spending most of my time right now is this company called Oney. We are doing a branded content play, right? So we're taking influencers and folks that have a little bit of a network that don't have the way to monetize those folks, and giving them the opportunity to make money from the connections they have by, sharing the goods. We get clients that want to get some sponsorship opportunities, get their brand in front of audiences in really unique ways. You said it earlier, man. If I stand here and tell you how great I am, or if I stand here and show you a video about the work I do, yawn. That wasn't an Indian move, although I'm Native American, so I can pull that off. That was a yawning move, just for those watching. It's boring. It's not inspiring. Nobody gives a shit. Let's just call it what it is, right? It's not shareable content. It's not something that really engages or drives people to take action. You put something together that's cool, that people are going to share, and you become affiliated with that, you get that lift, right? That rising tide how's that saying go?
Rising tide rises all ships.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, but that doesn't sound right. But I think that must be it, right? Because we both said the same thing. Oh, John Kennedy, you and your quotes.
So Oney is for people with networks. Do you have a ballpark size as far as someone listening and watching this that says, well, I only have X amount? Because I hear people say, well, I only have 150 people on my email list. Well, that's better than none. And I have other people that say, well, I only have 35,000 on my list. I don't have enough. So it's always this relativity point. What size, what's the best? What should someone be aiming for, and who can you help?
That's a fantastic question, because that leads back to one of the first conversations and the oldest debates that I know of on LinkedIn. And that debate is the quality versus quantity debate. You can have 150 people in your email list or connections and think you don't have anybody, but all of those individuals are active, they're engaged, they pay attention, they know who you are, what you do, what you're about. You send them an email, they respond. You could have 35,000 people in your network who every time you send a message, they hit the delete button, right? They couldn't unsubscribe fast enough. They just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. And so to me, influence isn't as much of a number as it is impact. So I really, and it's funny you asked that question, because we were just talking about it in the office an hour and a half ago, and we came to the conclusion that there really isn't a number. There's the activity, there's the engagement, there's the action, there's somebody doing something as a result of what you did. That's what an influencer is, not so much the guy with 10,000 or 40,000 followers. How do you define it? You're in the influencer space.
So it's interesting, because obviously the bigger list you have, the better. Your network is your net worth, but absolutely 100% quality. And it's interesting because I've had people that have been following me for years, and every time I put something out like you're saying, they love it. I'm excited when this is rendered and out there, because I know people are going to love it, because you're here and we're giving great content. And there's other people, like yesterday, we were testing this out, let's say, and right when we were done, there was an email that said lead unsubscribed. Now you can look at that and go, oh no, I lost one person on my list. I looked at it and went, this is freaking fantastic. Who is this person? They did the work for me. I don't need to realize if they're a good prospect or not. I looked them up, looked on Facebook, LinkedIn by email and name. I don't even know who they are. Thanks for purging yourself. Now I don't need to do it next month. So, some people get bent out of shape about that. I'd rather have 100 people that appreciate it and implement than 10,000 that are, just, I'm here to get free stuff, if you will. So, all right. So, Oney and LinkedIn. What is the best case study, success story you've seen with them?
Wow. So, it's funny because you asked that question, and I was going to go a totally different direction. I got a buddy of mine that I helped change the course of his business through something I've done once and only once, but we'll save that story for another time. I think the best case study for Oney is what we're doing with music. We're putting together some live music shows, right? And it's been growing over time. We're in month 4, and it started off kind of small, right? 800 people, 800 viewers that are watching it and taking a look at it. The next month it was just over 2,000. The month after that it was almost 6. We just had our last one, and it was about 11,500 viewers, right, that are on watching this show live. We do it out of the Russell Industrial Center here in the Detroit area, which is kind of a cool little studio place with a dude named T Money Green. T Money was a guy that was kind of responsible for the whole G-Funk sound. So I go back to Nate Dogg and Warren G. Right?
Yeah.
Regulators, mount up. That's T Money in that.
Mid-90s. Right? I remember that.
Yeah. Heck yeah, you do. He was the guy that said to Dr. Dre, you got to get these drum machines the hell out of here and let's get some real musicians in. So he was the band leader, the director of music for all of Death Row Records. Right? So we're associating our clients to that because it's hip, because it's cool, and they're getting lift as a result. Now we're putting in YouTube pre-roll. We're doing this for a law firm. It doesn't even, like, logically, it doesn't make any sense at all. But the guy that's the lawyer knows that if he wants to compete with the Sam Bernsteins, and I'm really Detroiting this show up a little bit, my apologies.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, right, we're here. Yeah. If he wants to compete with Sam Bernstein, he's got to do what Sam's not doing, right? And he doesn't even want to really compete with him because he's not going to spend that kind of money. He's got to do different stuff, right, that captures people's attention and reaches a little different audience than those folks are going to. So we're having some great effect and some impact with that.
That is exciting, and you gave me an idea, and when we're done with this, I'm going to share it with you, someone I want to connect you with.
Lovely. Love it, love it, love it.
So
yeah, it's fun.
Let's get into your book. What has your book done for your business?
You know, to some extent, I think it's a great way to extend the reach, right? I can connect with people, and they can find out a little bit about me, my thought process, how I think, and who I am through the writing. But more importantly, they can learn how to be connected, right? That's the title of the book, Be Connected. And the book looks at the 5 areas to me that are really important and relevant about networking. Things you need to do before a networking event or going out and networking, things you need to do at the event itself, things you need to do after networking takes place, things you need to do to network online, and then most importantly, to me anyway, why networking works. And it's really the universe's relationship to networking. So it gets a little hooey-jewy, a little woo-woo, if you will, but it's really got that universal law configuration to it. So it's lend credibility, right? When you tell people you're an author, as you know, Mr. International Bestseller, it changes the conversation a little bit, right? It shows that you have some stick-to-itiveness, right? It's like getting that college degree, whether you wanted it or not. At least you finished the darn thing, right? Same thing with writing a book. It's gotten me on some stages that I probably wouldn't have gotten on. It's had me in some conversations that I may not have had otherwise. But the whole thing was based on training I was doing live and in person. You know, sometimes 3 people in a room, man. I don't know if you've ever spoken to 3 people in a room. It's a little lonely up there, but it's
5.
Yeah, it's kind of 5. That's the minimum, eh? Yeah, you got to set one.
Just turn it into a workshop.
Yeah, exactly. It allows you to not have to keep doing those small events, right? Here, just buy the damn book and we'll be cool. But it's been great, man, and it's, you know, and I know you're gonna bust my chops about it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and preempt this. I got to finish the other book, right? I got to finish the next one or the other one that's behind that, and get those out. But it's one of those things where, you know, was it Robert Kiyosaki, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I'm reading this book, and it was right after mine released. And he was talking to the young author who was talking about writing a book and what a great writer she is and how it'll be super awesome, but she can't sell, doesn't like selling, doesn't want to sell. And in the book, Kiyosaki says, you see what it says right here? It doesn't say #1 best book writer. it says number one best book seller, right? And so if you're not willing to sell the book, there's no real sense in writing the book. And that's a key component for people that are thinking about taking that on.
I agree 100%, and I share that same story too, because there's typos in mine, and there's typos in my speech here. I appreciate you for saying, oh, wow, that's a really great question. I'm thinking, yeah, if I didn't stumble the first 20 seconds of it. But that's the thing is when you want to get it out there and you have a message, you can't worry about all the details and all that. So I'm not going to bust your chops about doing the book, because I know people that always say they want to do it and never do, but they're not focusing on anything else. You are. And there's other people that every 6 months they're kicking off a new book. I'm like, that's a lot of work. Did you maximize the first one you have? So there's all different ways to go about stuff. So, what's your goal? It's not someone else's. If you're on track and you're happy with where you're going, then you're successful, if you ask me. Because there's a lot of people that are always looking to ticky mark that checkbox, and it's like, great, you got 400 trophy awards, but you're not happy. Well, you're kind of missing the point, if you ask me. But maybe that's in a different show or another episode.
Could be. It's a good conversation, though, man, because I'll tell you what, success to me is whatever makes you happy, right? Living your life on your terms. Anything other than that, we can debate it all you want, but ultimately, that's the goal, dude. That's the goal.
How much are you going to be taking with you when we leave here?
Like virtually all of it, and by all of it, I mean zero. Like I don't know the answer to that question for obvious reasons, but my best guess is, I don't even know that I'm going to take the thoughts I have about the idea of not being here, right? And if I took a lot, it might be that, maybe a couple of memories, but I'm guessing probably not so much.
Yeah, people treat it like we're going on a trip to Florida or California. Like, how many bags can I pack? If I carry all this crap with me, I'm going to have a good trip. It's like, no, you're just weighing yourself down and going to hurt your neck carrying it.
Seriously, man. I joke about that all the time when people show up with all the baggage that they've been carrying around with them for all their lives. I'm like, just set that shit down in the corner, man. You know where it is. Don't carry it with you. Go visit it whenever you're feeling sullen or bad or sad or whatever. But don't bring it with you into every interaction. You know people like this. They show up and their baggage is in the room before they are. It's like, oh, man, you can just sense that crap energy before it even shows up.
Yeah, that's a good networking tip in itself, because I heard when someone calls you or when you call someone, you want them to go, oh, I'm so excited, it's so-and-so. And I would say I'm very thankful, because while I haven't done everything perfect, when I was calling people to say, hey, I have a new show, I'd love to have you, there wasn't anyone going, everyone was genuinely excited. And I know there's other people that, you, like you said, you feel them in the parking lot and you're going, crap, I think it's time for bathroom break or to go find the food or the exit. So everyone's worried about all this stuff. What can I do for my business? It's not what you can do, but what can you be? And I know you relate to that.
Listen, man, that's what it's all about. We spend too much time doing and not enough time being, right? And I it's on LinkedIn from I don't know if it was last week or whenever. I posted a picture of my old license plate and said, what do you think this stands for? It's NOWHOUR, right? And so, I get a lot of guesses at now hour, which, listen, doing shit now is great advice. You really should. You should get on it, right? And I'm the type of guy that if I don't do it now, the likelihood of it getting done steadily declines over time, right? So you and I are very similar. When we're checking stuff, when we're going after it, we get it done, and then we move on to whatever's next. And maybe whatever's next has nothing to do with what we just did. But that's not what now hour is. It's actually 4 words. So have I given people enough time to think about it, you think? Think so? All right. So it's know who you are. Once you know who you are, you can spend that time being who you are.
I like that.
That's important.
I like that. That's going to be in your new book?
It's it might have been in the old book, actually. It's been around for a while, man. That license plate was on my 2008 Dodge Charger, which was a sweet car. It's no Challenger.
It's still great content, and that, like I was saying from the beginning, when we first met years ago, I noticed that instantly, and it hasn't changed. So this is kind of a lot of fun. So your book is good, and people should get it. And let me ask you about video. What has that done for your business? How do you use it?
You know, I could use it better. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But I use it all the stinking time. I've been making videos since I had a Vimeo site in 2008. And I'm the kind of guy that'll take the camera, spin it around, start talking, hit the record button to stop it, post it, and then think, oh, gosh, I wonder if I should have edited that. I wonder if I should have thought through that a little better. Oh, well, too late. It's already up, right? So I'm a ready, fire, aim guy, right? And I don't necessarily recommend that, but back to getting it done now is significantly better than waiting until next week to get it done right. And I'm a firm believer in that. So one of the things that I've been messing around with this past summer is video on LinkedIn. I actually started doing it about a year ago, and I noticed that they really favor when you post a video directly to LinkedIn. So I posted one yesterday, and it was horrible. It got like 0 views, and by 0 I mean like 300. Right? It was poor performance. You know, a typical video for me is getting between 8 and 1,200 views. Some of them will catch and go to 3,000 to 5,000. And if you're watching this, I'm not pretty like Mario. I look like this, right? I know, and I'm not that handsome fella. So I don't have that good advantage that Mario does or some other.
You got the sharp dressing and you're good looking. I don't know what you're talking about. I noticed your shirt when you got on here. I was like, shoot, should I wear my pink one?
We could have been pink pals. That would have been so cute, man.
We got to do the high five like before.
Yeah, it's
where's the camera?
My partner was kind of, he was talking about that, the haptic high five, right? So he said, "Oh, you guys nailed it." I'm like, "Oh, good. I didn't even know that was a thing." But so video has been cool, man. And I just did this training today. Listen, you've got to get comfortable with the idea of being on camera. And here's the thing: if you're not, turn the camera around and take a shot of whatever you're looking at and just talk. It's still you doing something on camera. People want to see it. Keep it tight. One of the reasons a video yesterday didn't go off as well, it was long, man. It was like 4 minutes. Right? It was sung for LinkedIn. You can pull 4 minutes on YouTube. Right? Yeah, right, exactly. But that's how it is. We have no attention span anymore. The Social Media Examiner guys, you know, Michael Stelzner, you know that name? Probably have come across that. Huge social media guys. They pulled 3 of their 4 shows from Facebook because nobody was watching them anymore. They don't do their long form shows there anymore. You can do 1 to 2 minute videos on Facebook and LinkedIn, the 1 minute video on Instagram, and all of those can drive back to your longer form programs on YouTube. That's the strategy that you need to be focused on.
Well, I appreciate you for sharing that. So how vital would you say branded content is now that you're talking about the importance of video?
It's where it's at, right? And again, I go back to the whole idea is you can't be doing the step by step. This is our unique process and our unique value proposition or sales proposition, and this is who we are and this is what we do. That's not what we're talking about. You got to be finding cool things that are going on, showcase that, and then have your name associated to it. That's what's up. You know, we talk about in the office, we always use the American Idol example, right? You know, Coca-Cola doesn't even have to advertise on American Idol anymore because the judge has a can of Coke sitting in front of him. You're watching Coca-Cola that entire time. I remember when I was a little kid, the movie E.T. came out. I'd never heard of Reese's Pieces until E.T. came out, and then Reese's Pieces were flipping everywhere. That may have been one of the first examples of product placement, certainly the first one I remember, you know, but it's a early one that was effective. right? And that's what we're talking about. It can't be, if they would have done a Reese's Pieces commercial, nobody would have cared two licks, right? They would have been swallowed up by M&M. But instead, here we are, man.
Well, I am excited for what is coming up because the first half of the show has been solid gold content, hashtag solid gold. So we're going to thank our sponsor, and when we come back, we're going to go into the imperfect action items with the bonus round, the bonus round, whatever. So
bonus.
When you were talking about
imperfect bonus,
ready, fire, aim, and you're going, I don't know if I'd recommend that. Oh, I absolutely would. It's one of the things I teach is imperfect action. Take imperfect action. Clearly, you know what I did to pull this off, and it's been imperfect action. And the thing is, you can always adjust it. You can always... You can figure it out is the point. But if you don't take that first step, you have analysis paralysis. So that's why the second half of the show is all imperfect action. So thanks for sharing. We're going to thank our sponsor.
So Siri can help you sound the siren, and Alexa automatically accepts answers, but when it comes to business, you need to be clear. Crystal, the Chrome extension that's going to change your life, make you more productive, increase your profits, and give you the peace of mind you deserve so you can focus on what's most important, the relationship. LinkedIn is no joke. You know it's where you need to be, but doesn't it feel overwhelming at times, downright daunting? Finally, you find the perfect prospect, and it's time for round 3, the wonderful world of wordsmithing like Shakespeare in his prime. So you step out to make your first impression, and for once get ahead this time. Crystal to the rescue. Personality assessments, predictions, and coaching tools to understand anyone's personality for hiring, team building, and my favorite, sales. All from a simple Chrome extension for LinkedIn. To learn more on how you can increase your productivity, profits, and peace of mind today, go to eainterviews.com/crystal. Once again, that's eainterviews.com/crystal.
All right, and we back. So, imperfect action item number 1, rapid fire. What's the shortest path to the cash? Everyone listening has a business, and they want to know how to make more money. So, Terry, how would you suggest the shortest path to the cash is?
The number one thing that most of my clients and prospects screw up is they don't go after more business from their existing clients, right? So figure out what more you can sell to the people that already know, like, and trust.
I like it. All right, so the next one is customer lifetime value. How would you say the best way is to maximize the customer lifetime value? So many people talk about, I want to get new clients, I want to get new clients, I want to get new clients. And that's all well and good, but if you're on this roller coaster of revenue, that's not ideal. How do you maximize it and extend the customer lifetime value?
You know, a lot of times people look at project-based work, right? And it's a short-term, I'm going to do this one thing, and then I'm going to be off, and I'm going to have to find somebody else, right? Figure out how to take that project, break it into multiple projects, or break it into smaller segments. So instead of charging somebody $25,000 for this thing, take that thing and spread it out as $3,000 a month for the next 12 months, right? So instead of $25,000 for the project, now you've got a $3,000 monthly recurring revenue, which ends up being $36,000 over the course of the year.
I like it. That's a great suggestion. I was just talking to a client yesterday about continuity revenue, and I recommend it 100%.
Well, and it makes it easier for them, too, right? Now they're not looking at having to bite off this big check. They can say, oh, yeah, shoot, we can do that all day long.
All right, so the third and final for imperfect action. What is the biggest problem you see with your audience, and what's the fastest way they can solve it?
You and I talk about this every time we talk on the phone, man, how busy everybody is. Everybody's out there like we got to glorify the grind or celebrate the hustle or talk about how busy we are. The reality is most people are busy, but they're not necessarily productive. What we really need to do is apply the 80-20 principle to our business, figure out what we're doing that 20% of the time that yields 80% of the revenue, scrap the rest of the crap. You talk about outsourcing all the time or hiring it done. Figure out how to implement that into your world. Focus on your core strengths that are going to yield the most return for you and spend your time doing that. Turns out your stress level will go down and your income will go up.
I love it. You didn't skip a beat with it. All right, so that is the final and last question for the Imperfect Action. Now, how can people get your book, and where should they go to learn more about you?
If you go to trybeing.com, you can figure out where I am on the interwebs, whether it's LinkedIn, which is where I would prefer to connect with you. I really like to only connect with people I can tell a story about on Facebook, right? So odds are you may not be a fit for that. I'm good on Twitter. I'm TryBean on Instagram. I'm Terry Bean on Twitter. And then Onenie, ONENIE.com. Crazy cool content there and growing like a weed every single day. So super excited about the work we're doing.
All right, Terry, thanks for sharing with us. And we're going to thank our last sponsors. Thanks again.
Fun. That was fun.
You're already successful. You've worked hard to get where you are. We both know it wasn't overnight and hasn't always been easy. No doubt you're the expert on your subject matter. But do your prospects in your marketplace think of you first as their go-to trusted advisor all the time? ExpertAuthorityChecklist.com is 100% free and reveals the 21 steps to determine if your prospects view you as the expert and authority of your marketplace or if it's just all in your mind. Important required steps like, do you have a process in place for prospects to self-identify if they qualify for your time and expertise or not? Does your current offer have the 7 components of an irresistible offer required to make it a no-brainer for your prospects? Do you have a real-life paperback book showcasing you as the subject matter expert you can actually hand someone? Get your free checklist now at ExpertAuthorityChecklist.com. Once again, Expert Authority Checklist to make sure you have the 21 steps covered. It better not be more, but don't leave those 1 or 2 things you may have missing go any longer. Visit ExpertAuthorityChecklist.com and make sure you're being seen as the expert and authority today. Once again, that's ExpertAuthorityChecklist.com. Get your copy now.
So long, Siri. Adios, Alexa. There's a new girl in town, Crystal. Personality assessments, predictions, and coaching tools to understand anyone's personality for hiring, team building, and my favorite, sales. All from a simple Chrome extension for LinkedIn. To learn more on how you can increase your productivity, profits, and peace of mind today, go to eainterviews.com/Crystal. Once again, that's eainterviews.com/Crystal.